Hello everyone, welcome back to Blade Bias, the only, I guess we can call it once a year podcast on
the annual
YouTube.
Podcast.
Here
Annual
we are.
Balisong Podcast.
It's been a little bit.
It's been a hot minute.
We should probably give some explanation for that.
Yes, most of that comes down to my fault, not even gonna lie.
You don't have to take all the blame.
The problem really comes when I move like 3 different times in the span between Blade Bias uploads, and it's just a mess. So, anyways, yeah, we're alive. Obviously, the videos haven't stopped, but sitting down for an hour to record a podcast in a time that both of us have good audio is difficult. So
Yeah, it is. We're
that's
both
really
just kind of busy.
Yeah, it's really just the difficult part. It's just coordinating it. But
We've missed a lot. There's been a lot of things to go over. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to go over because when you have so many choices like this, it's kind of difficult.
First thing to start with, I'm kidding. I just held up something that we are not allowed to talk about yet. But no, first thing, I mean, we should probably touch on Blade Show. Just
we should.
The original we had an episode.
We should touch on the lost episode.
Yes, we had an episode filmed a while ago, but I'm a 3-head and lost the files for it, so that episode never happened. But it was all about Blade Show. Blade Show was an amazing experience. Blade Show was awesome. Probably one of the best times of my life.
Oh, easily.
Just in general. We will be there next year.
We will.
I will.
I'll be.
Sure.
I'm gonna be busy over the summer next year, but I'm gonna carve out time to at least show up one of the days.
Blade Show is very hype.
It was just like, I guess since the episode where we actually talked about Blade Show is lost because you know, I have my audio. Maybe I'll just upload my audio somewhere if you guys want to listen to a one-sided conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was super cool. We got to hang out with Will and Brandon, which was completely unexpected.
That was the crazy part.
And machine-wise, Fellowship Blades.
Yeah.
Just like
The gang.
so many cool people that we just never expected that we would get to talk to, especially starting out so recently.
Yeah.
In the YouTube game.
Yeah, we've literally, like, I started flipping. My 1 year of flipping hasn't even hit yet. And, like, our 1 year of making videos is probably around a similar time.
Yeah.
A couple months before, maybe. It's not even been a year, and we already got to just experience Blade Show and have people come up to us and say, like, hey, I watch your videos, and, like, they're great. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Thank you to everyone we interacted with. There were a bunch of cool people that we talked to, and the list of cool people going next year is only growing from what I've seen. I think next year is going to be a crazy experience.
Oh my god.
Get your schedules and your finances in line now because it's going to be crazy and you don't want to miss it.
Yes, please come to Blade Show. I encourage everyone in the Balisong hobby to come to Blade Show. Like, specifically next year because that's going to be fun, but any year that you can, just get to Blade Show.
Any Blade Show you can.
Any Blade
Some
Show
people
you can,
say,
yeah.
oh, I can only go to West. It's like,
That's fine.
Go for it.
Go
Do
to
it.
West. I mean, Blade East is obviously the big one, but
Yeah, Blade East is where it's at.
Blade West, there's still a ton of people going.
There's yeah, it's just like this year I think Blade West is getting a bit screwed over because a lot of big manufacturers have pulled out. NRB and Machine Wise are two that jump to mind when I think of people that got kind of like screwed out of going to Blade Show West. But
Blade West is also in Salt Lake, Utah, which Balisongs are illegal. Live blades are illegal.
Is it? I thought they changed that.
No, it's still illegal.
Oh, I thought that was 6 this year.
No, so a lot of the people are just bringing trainers only.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, which I think Squid is still dropping tsunamis, but a bunch of Balisong makers are doing just trainer only.
Gotcha. I have seen that the map of Balisong tables is very short. Yes. But
if they are doing live blades, it's a very limited run of them. It's not gonna be like Blade East where there's just blades everywhere, literally all over the place. There's live blades. People are flinging knives off of stairs. And like, not gonna be like that.
But trust us when we say, even if it's not Blade Show West is not crazy, if that's all you can go to it because it is still sick.
Still, it is still going to be one of the coolest things we've ever been to.
Meeting up with people and flipping with people rather than just like talking to them online and like them being like a faceless entity is such a cool experience.
And the Balisong, I'm going to go off topic a little bit, but the Balisong hobby has given us so much and has just changed so much
yeah.
of our lives. I think we could talk about what we did today without leaking, like, things that happened.
Yeah.
We hung out today with Tay, who is responsible for making the Tay flippers, and, like, that would have never happened if we didn't start flipping battle songs. Like, that is a friend we never would have made. Same thing with Will and Brandon. We never would have talked to them if we didn't flip battle songs. And those are people that are, like, those are the homies.
Yeah.
Those are awesome people we love to talk to. So it's very, battle song as a hobby, battle song flipping has given us a lot.
Dalen, Machine-Wise, Grant, Fellowship,
Yeah.
just like super, super cool people to talk to. And talking to people with such a level of expertise. I know Tay showed it off today when we were talking to him.
Mm-hmm.
But just like saying like, oh, it's weird that like this battle song doesn't like Chaplin very well. And then Tay would be like, oh, yeah, that's because of this and this and this and this.
So weird. I would just hand Tay a battle song and be like, oh, it's slightly handle biased, but it's got more pivot weight than anything else. And I'm like, how did you know all this? By doing literally just a basic open.
It puts so much time.
He was right every single time.
He was.
Which is the crazy part. He was like, yeah, the zippy end caps would make this better, and you put it on and it's better.
Yep.
He's right every single time.
I learned
crazy.
A ton from today, and I had met up with Tay once before earlier in the summer. That was another conversation. It was just like I walked away like, huh.
I'm smart.
I learned a lot of stuff from that.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing like Will, Brandon, like everyone at Blade Show we talked to. It's like you can learn so much by just listening to other people talk about things that they're passionate about. Will told us a shit ton about like audio and stuff. Brandon about camera work and explaining like his gear that he uses. Fellowship and Dalen talking about like designing ballad songs and all the process they go through and machining and all that. It's like super, super cool stuff.
Yeah.
And even flippers at Blade Show.
Yeah.
I know we talked to Shrimp a lot.
Yep. Shrimp
That
had a
was
lot
really
of
cool.
insightful stuff. He had a lot of stuff to say about like sponsorship wise, because he was sponsored by Cerrone for Ballycomp, and it was like he gave us a lot of info just on how different companies interact with different flippers and like just all that stuff. That's something I talked to him about for quite a bit. But it's just you learn so much. You become so much of a better. I don't even want to say like better flipper, but you become so much more knowledgeable just going to Blade Show.
More well-rounded.
Yeah,
easily.
you become such a more well-rounded flipper. That's for sure.
And it helps. I think it helps people in a hobby where, I mean, granted, this is maybe generalizing a bit, but in a hobby where people seem to be a bit more hesitant to be social, it helps you come out of your shell a lot more to see that other people in the hobby are more or less exactly the same.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In fact, it surprised me. It still surprises me to hear people, because there are people who are like, "Oh yeah, I saw you at Blade Show, but I was too nervous to come up," and I was like, "Oh, you missed out on like so much. You could have come and like talk to us and hung out, and it would have been great." So like, don't be afraid to come up to people at Blade Show and just like start talking to them.
Yeah.
Obviously, read the room.
Yeah, definitely.
But like, just talk to people.
Yeah, going on to that, people who like say they were too nervous to come up and talk to us. How do you think we were meeting Will and Brandon for the first time? We were just like, you exist. This is weird. This is odd, but you're my friend now. Like, just do it.
Hell, how do you think we were walking into Blade Show knowing that someone might come up and recognize us? Who we were like, hi, I don't know you, but you know me. This is weird.
It's so weird, but once you get into the swing of meeting people, you just start like everyone's a friend. You're just like, hey, you're cool. Let me try this. Let me do this. Like, it's so worth it. It's so much fun.
And keep a little journal. That's the one thing that I did.
True.
We ran that Bally book where we put down our initial thoughts of ballad songs that we tried. That has helped me quite a bit to keep the thought and the idea of how things flip that I tried.
Oh, is this the vault bit?
That's the vault bit.
Oh, I found the bit on this desk that came from the vault.
We're in the same room.
Yes, yeah.
So Ty's messing around with my room.
I am in Ethan's apartment for the first time ever, and I'm just taking stuff off his shelves and
just looking at it.
Yeah, I'm just inspecting, doing a little inspect animation, doing a little Valorant moment.
Hey, fair enough.
But yeah, so. I want to kind of touch on, now that we touch on kind of what happened, where we've been, basically TLDR, it's just difficult to schedule an hour-long podcast when both of us are pretty busy, and especially my house currently is very loud. Yeah. Because there's a lot of people there, and I don't live alone. Sometime soon, within the next couple months, I will be moving into kind of my own space where there's a lot less going on and I can record anytime I want. But at the moment, it's just there's a lot of noise. So sitting down to record a podcast episode is it takes a lot of good timing and things to align currently, which is just why the episodes have been pretty thin. But
pretty thin is a bit of an understatement.
Yeah.
Understatement of the century.
However, if you look at the rest of the channel, we've been going crazy with uploads.
Oh, the daily uploads.
Daily uploads for like the past couple weeks, except for this week because I've been
we did
here
a month
in New
of
York.
daily uploads.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
And as soon as I come back home to
Right.
Florida, it's gonna be the same thing. I'm just gonna start uploading again.
Right.
So, yeah, the Blade Bias channel is still very active, and it's going to stay very active because one of the reasons we made Blade Bias in the first place is, aside from the podcast, there's two main reasons. Podcast is one of them. The second reason was to just have content that is so easy to make, we can make a shit ton of it, basically. And that's what the head-mounted videos are, is just make a bunch of stuff, talk about a bunch of different topics, and they're easy for us to make so that when you look at our main channels, we don't upload very often, but all of the time that we're not uploading on the main channel, there's Blade Bias content.
Yeah.
So if you are ever bored, like, oh, when is Ethan going to upload next, or when is Ty going to make a new video about something, check the Blade Bias channel. I can almost guarantee there's been 20 videos.
I'm
at
odd
least.
number days, you're even number
Yeah.
days. At least right now, I'll probably change when the month changes over. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been really, really cool because I'm sure your process is very similar. I record 3 or 4 videos back to back and then just schedule them.
Yep.
So to spend maybe 2-3 hours on a Sunday, which is normally what I do, recording videos and then just watching them, just like, hey, Blade Bias uploaded, and it sort of like runs itself.
It really
it's kind of
does.
cool.
It's kind of interesting to see how with Blade Bias specifically, with our reviews, they take so much work, so much effort, and just a whole lot of thought and planning and filming and doing all that. With Blade Bias, you record for like an hour or two, and then the channel just runs itself for the next week.
And it's sick.
It's so nice, and I'm not ashamed of saying that Blade Bias is so easy because we still put so much effort into our main channels.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to put out videos at a pace that even like Will and Brandon put out videos really, really quickly for what they do.
For what they do, yeah.
Because especially now with me in college, you doing everything you're doing down in Florida, it's like we can't put in like the 15-16 hours that it takes I mean, that's average for me. I don't know what it is for you.
Yeah.
But it's kind of rough to do that like once every 2 weeks or something. So to have daily uploads that you guys can watch and just be like, yeah, this is content that I'm going to watch and it's pretty cool, is just like really nice. I'm really proud of Blade Bias so far.
Blade Bias is sick. And a lot of people like Blade Bias. I've talked to numerous people just on Instagram DMs who are just like, yeah, Blade Bias is super sick. Like, I watch all the videos.
I've talked to numerous
Super
people
dope.
who don't even know it exists yet. And
That's
it makes
true.
me wonder, the reason I bring that up is because I don't know how many people on this channel don't know that we have our own channels.
That's true. That's true. We are always linked in the description. Both of our main channels are always in the description.
Go check out our main reviews. We have 17 videos each, I think,
Somewhere on there.
of higher quality stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what you watch, because the like length and quality fluctuates all over the place.
True.
With like you have like a commentary one in there, I have like a Q&A and
Yeah.
but if you want some higher quality Battle Song stuff, there's a bunch of stuff on our main channels.
Yeah, check out the main channel, for sure.
Or maybe you're one of the Chads who watches both, and to that we say
Giga Chad.
thank you.
Thank you.
What the hell happened to the audio?
I don't know.
That's whatever. Anyway.
That is freaking out.
It is freaking out. Anyway, we're getting a bit distracted. We don't need to sell a channel that people are already watching.
People are already watching the channel, and we're still shilling it.
There was I will say there was a period in our 3 months of Blade Bias podcast absence where like I don't even know if we could have done weekly uploads, because there was like it's kind of recently like not much has happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been having trouble on like my live streams keeping topics going on, because like there's just so many things that are like, what is going on this week?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. A lot of things are happening, but they're happening. The problem with Battle Songs is just things happen, but they happen very slowly. So
But they also happen quickly at the same time.
everything moves slowly until it's ready, and then it
Exactly.
just like goes.
Because you'll have 1 week where it's like, holy crap, Machine-Wise just released the Prisma, and there's this other Balisong, and the BB Firefly V2, and like all of this stuff, and then the next week it's like, yeah, there were like Glider released some tools.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Tools. The Glider tools are sick.
But we can't talk about that for an hour.
Yeah, no. But it's just, I don't know. There's so much happening, but at the same time, it's... And also with Balisongs, it's kind of like once you're done talking about something, kind of, there's only so much you can talk about.
Right.
Especially for things we don't have, like, when we're talking about the Swordfish, for example. The Swordfish we know is coming sometime soon, but we don't know, like, exactly what to expect. We don't know exactly any details other than they said they should be ready by Blade Show sometime, but I mean that's just Squid's estimate. It's hard to talk about something when we don't have one like in hand.
Right.
Upcoming products are so difficult to talk about because all we have is just an estimation. And prototypes are cool to talk about and stuff, but prototypes still, I mean, you can only talk about a knife and how it flips and how it's made for so long.
Right.
I can't talk about my Sirius for the next hour. I just can't.
We will get into the Sirius.
Yes.
But I do want to make a 180 directly into what we just said was a terrible thing, which is talking about prototypes and things that don't exist yet. Because Machine-Wise has released his plans to build a Seraph V2 and the return of the Slift T.
Yes, Slift T.
And I wanted to get your thoughts on that because
Slift T gaming.
He said it. The one thing that we know, I believe the post said that the Seraph will most likely have a hole pattern now.
I didn't even see the post. I'm not even gonna lie. All I saw was Seraph V2, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And then I think I closed my phone.
Yeah, he said he was gonna. Dalen is a madman. He said, "Yeah, in the next 48 hours, I'm gonna design 2 products." And I was like, "Okay, that's crazy of you, but go off."
Absolute psychopath.
So yeah, the Seraph V2 is happening. I think it's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I hope it's going to be crazy.
The Seraph V1 is already crazy.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are hoping to see a change in the blade. What is your, like, idea? What is your... If you had something to change for a V2 Seraph, what would you change? Because I don't even know if there's much.
I would probably just round the edges of the handles a little bit so it's not as pointy. That's it. It's my only complaint with the Seraph.
I would maybe make the blade a little thicker.
Maybe.
Like, visually, the blade just seems a little weird to me, but I still really like the blade, unlike it seems like a lot of other people.
I still like the blade.
I almost don't even like the fact that it has a hole pattern.
Yeah, I don't think
I kind of love the texture of the Seraph. It's so understated, but, like,
yes,
it's
texture
really
of the
nice.
Is great. Yeah, with the Seraph, there's really not much I can think of that I would change without redesigning a whole new product. The Seraph is just really good as it is. The Seraph is one of those... There's a lot of Balisongs I pick up and I'm like, this needs something. This needs some extra milling here. This needs extra texturing here. Seraph doesn't need anything. The Seraph's just good.
Genuinely just such a good product.
Yeah.
The Slift T, on the other hand, I know nothing about.
Slift T, I've never flipped.
The Slift T, I think, is a bit before our time, right?
It is, yes.
Both in the time that it was
before the Marin.
Popular and the time that it wasn't discontinued when we joined, but it was on its way out, as far as I know.
Yeah, the Slift T comes before the Marin because it was the 50, and then he slimmed it, made the Slift T, and then made the Marin based off of that.
Right.
So the Slift T is, I think, one of his cooler looking designs. I think the Slift T looks
very
awesome.
interesting.
Yeah, I think the Slift T looks super sick, and it's coming back with a small redesign, so I'm hyped with that.
I am also excited the Seraph is confirmed to be compatible with Prisma blades. So Trainer Seraphs are on the table, which is pretty cool.
True. Trainer Seraphs. Interesting.
Yeah, I like Machine-Wise. I think I left a comment. I think we're about to witness some greatness, boys, because Machine-Wise just gets better and better with each product he designs.
Everything Machine-Wise does is better than the last.
And a lot of people would say, no, not the Prisma, but yes, the Prisma, because not only is it available way more often, but it's also, like, available way more often, and that is so important.
Yeah, and also much more affordable.
Yep.
Prisma is... For affordability and availability, the Prisma is the best thing Machine-Wise has done.
It may not be super comfortable because it's super square. I know a lot of people have that complaint, but what he did for the availability and the quality of what's going on, and his quality control, from what I can tell, did not drop
insanely good
with the introduction of weekly drops.
Yeah,
Like, it
it's
is still
insane.
insanely good.
If you buy a Prisma now, it will be the exact same as it is week 1. Like, and they're perfect. I don't think I've ever seen a Prisma with worse tolerances than like some of my best tuned battle songs.
My Prisma had tap once, and I promptly screamed, threw it out the window, and then ran away because tap is the worst thing ever, and I hate it,
True.
obviously.
Tap sucks, and if your battle song has tap, you should send it in for maintenance.
Yeah, or tap doesn't matter, and if you care about tap, you should similarly throw yourself out of a window.
Both opinions.
No, but I fixed it up really quickly, and it is perfect. So.
Yeah. We were joking, by the way.
Yeah, that both
Tap
of those were complete jokes.
Does not matter.
It's a personal preference
Just
thing.
if you don't like tap, then you don't like tap. If you don't mind tap, then you don't mind tap. It really just comes down to tap does not destroy your battle song. Your battle song is not exploding. It just can have some sound issues.
But it's also okay to care about it.
Yeah.
On
definitely.
the opposite. It's literally just like make the choice for yourself and don't tell other people what to think. I made a whole video about it. Go check out Live and Let Live.
Yep.
On the, I think it should be out by now.
Should be. Maybe.
Actually, it might.
When is
I don't
that
know.
scheduled?
I have no. I think it might be tomorrow, as in not Monday but Tuesday.
Oh.
Because this is Monday morning. Whatever. Anyway,
Something or other.
speaking of other makers, if we're done with the machine-wise thing, I don't know if
Yeah.
you have anything else to add. I know you aren't a super big NRB fan, but you just recently tried the Nemesis, and
Yeah,
of
let me
course
see
my
the Nemesis.
Vortex. The Nemesis.
Oh, it's all put away.
I
Never
got
mind.
it. I got it.
Okay. Yeah, I got to try Ethan's. Nemesis
I'll
V2.
send you off on a topic so you can talk while I
Okay,
grab it.
okay.
They are discontinuing it.
True.
It's very
Discontinuing
interesting.
the Nemesis. I believe his reasoning was just it was made to fit his preferences, and now he no longer has those preferences. So he's discontinuing the Nemesis, which I think is fine because it's being kind of replaced by a new titanium battle song. But it's always unfortunate to see products get discontinued. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, there's gonna be people who the Nemesis is their perfect battle song, and same
Hello.
thing. Yeah, like same thing with the Marin Lights for me from Machine Wise is that I would buy a new Marin Light if they weren't discontinued.
Right.
So it always sucks to see products discontinued, but when people are as small as literally just 1 or 2 people in their room or their garage doing it, like NRB and Machine Wise are, I completely understand it.
Yeah,
it's
it makes
just
sense.
unfortunate to see.
I did want to segue that into what your thoughts were on the Nemesis.
The Nemesis is cool.
I think that's the most interesting battle song from my collection that you tried today.
Yeah, it's very cool. It feels very heavy. Although it's not technically very heavy, it just feels heavy. It's built like a tank, of course, because it's titanium slabs. Yeah, it's good. Handle bias is pretty strong, but it still fans well. At least it feels like that. Feels pretty strong. But I don't want to flip it too much because I'm going to hit something and break it. Or
Yeah.
break the table, I should say. This thing is not getting any breakage at all. But the Nemesis is super sick. It's very rectangular. The handles are very skinny, which I was not expecting. Well, I was
Yeah.
expecting, but I wasn't expecting it to be that big of a deal. But
It's
I
kind of
noticed
my
it
number
right off
one
the bat.
complaint
Yeah.
of the thing. I just wish the handles were a bit thicker.
Yeah.
Although this brings up a good point because it makes me wonder, like, I have been planning a Nemesis review for a while now. But now is it even worth it?
Mm.
Is it worth reviewing a Balisong where only 30 of them exist? And if he ever does the production run that he said he was going to, where it's probably going to add another 30 to the wild, is it worth reviewing a Balisong that there's 60 of and that
Yeah.
most people aren't going to have a chance to try or even buy?
Yeah.
Because chances are, based on the reaction I've seen, people like them. I assume that the price is going to pull a Marin Light and kind of go up to
Yeah.
a point where most people are going to say, yeah, that's not worth it. So I'm very interested to wonder, if you have any thoughts on that, leave them down in the comments, but I don't know what you think about that.
I think, yeah, that's one of the things that people don't get about like review style content is that you have to be good with your timing. That is
Right.
also the problem where I'm gonna put the perfect example up after I say, like, that's also just the problem with why our videos take so long is that on one hand, we have to work things quickly so that products are hot and fresh when we review them, and people are actually going to look to the review as a source of should I buy this. But on the other hand, we have to take our time and make a good review. So it's a tough balance.
But at the same time, you have to get it out. You can't get it out too quick because then products might change.
Yeah,
like
then
if
they
we
change.
got a review out of the Vault too early, we would have missed that they're changing to T10 and changing all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to balance it perfectly.
Perfectly, yeah.
And it's
usually I find a good balance is like give it a month,
right,
to get people's opinions in. But here's an example of like some of the problems that happen with review style content and moving products is Will's Arctic review came out, I believe, the exact day or the day before the Antarctic dropped.
Yep.
And Will has had the Arctic review in. They had the Arctic review in works for months.
Will had the Arctic like a week after I got mine, and I got mine months before I even started making videos.
Yeah.
And by the time he reviewed it, I was big enough to be in the video.
Yeah.
So it was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, just reviewing ballad songs takes so long because I touched on it in my video I made on the channel here on Blade Bias about why I haven't reviewed the Prisma yet, and it's just over that month. Let's say you, just for an estimate, you give it a month to test the product, wait for any new information, and just get the review formulated together. Over the month, your opinions could change from not liking something at all to it being your favorite ballad song.
Yep.
It's just how it goes. And with something that's so objective, it's just your opinions are bound to change like that. There's no way to keep. It's very rare that you get a ballad song and it stays in its ranking spot in your collection the whole time you have it.
Oh,
unless it's like a really solid #1 or very last. It's not often that happens.
Even the Kraken, and this is a good segue for if we want to talk about the Sirius.
The
Kraken, if I had a Sirius, would be threatened. And I thought the Kraken was this infallible warrior of my collection.
Yeah.
That could never be topped. And then I tried this beauty of a ballad song, which, Ty, you're actually sponsored
I am,
by
yes.
LDY, which is super cool.
Very cool, very cool. Very hyped about that. So the Sirius V2, I made a unboxing video about. I was going to do a updated thoughts, because about this is what I mean when it's either your #1 or your least favorite that you instantly get your opinions on and they stay there. Within a week of having the Sirius, I already knew it was my favorite ballad song I own. Not because of, comfortability, because I'll touch on it in the video, the Blade Bias video I make soon. I actually might record that like tonight or tomorrow maybe. I don't know.
You can use my camera.
Yeah, use your camera. But the Sirius is not the most comfortable because the edges are more of a angle, like a chamfer rather than a rounding, and it's just not designed to be the most comfortable. But what it is the most controlled ballad song, and that matters a lot for me because I always put flipping first. Because I don't care how beautiful a knife is, if I don't have fun with it, then I don't want it.
Of course.
Like, that's why a lot of my collection comes and goes, and like I hold weird things as my couple favorites. Like my Firefly V2 is one of my favorite trainers that I own.
Freaking
and
love that thing.
Weird, but it's fun and it's really good and it's just a blast to flip, and that's why I love it so much. So the Sirius V2 is interesting because it's not kind of gunning after Squid's. Because Squid has some of the best overall polish on their ballad songs. When you flip a Squid Industries knife, it feels so premium, and it feels like just a piece of just artwork just in your hands. And I appreciate that the Sirius is not like that, and it's more just, we're gonna engineer this thing to be as good as it gets for flipping performance, and I feel like that's super sick.
The Sirius does compete with the Kraken, I think, obviously, because it's very similar spec and very similar priced, but it doesn't, I guess, it doesn't replace the Kraken.
Yeah.
Nor, I don't think, is it trying to.
No, not
because while I do think that the Sirius, if I were to own one and try one for a few weeks, would have the chance to beat out my Kraken as my favorite ballad song, I would still own my Kraken at the end of the day because they're different enough to make it worth having both.
I still own my Kraken. I'm still going to. And I still pull out the Kraken every once in a while. It's just like a change of pace from the Sirius since I've had it. But the Sirius is great for a lot of reasons, and I feel like one of the best reasons is showcasing that in that price range of mid 200s, there are things that can threaten the Kraken. The Kraken has literally, since it came out, just been like, you have $200 to spend, just buy a Kraken.
Yeah.
Just literally no better option than just buy a Kraken. But I feel like the Sirius is kind of pushing that into like, hey, we're gonna do stuff that's actually going to give the Kraken a run for its money.
Yeah, it kind of shakes things up.
Yeah, and I like that a lot. The Sirius is very, very good.
And the Sirius is genuinely awesome. Like,
so
I will be honest, I was completely skeptical of the hype because so many people are hyping it up right now. And I saw it and I was like, yeah, it's probably good, but there's no way it beats a Kraken.
Yeah.
The flipping experience is just genuinely that good.
Yeah, it's great. When you think of, you get that flipping experience for $230, you also get the included trainer blade. You also get a full kit of replacement hardware. You get a full hard carrying case, which is what I actually use to bring 4 of my knives on vacation with me. You get so much with the Sirius that's not just the Balisong, and I personally really value that. I feel like that unboxing and presentation and just included accessories experience, on top of getting like a microfiber cloth, some band-aids, all that stuff, and just safekeeping things, I feel like that goes a long way, and I definitely value that in the packaging and the distribution of the Sirius. I feel like that's a very good thing to do.
Oh, it's a very cool thing to do.
Yeah.
I love seeing, like, I have the case right here. Like, it's a genuinely nice little case. Like, it's thick, it's protective, it has slots for 2 Balisongs, I think. And you can fit more in this, like, pocket area. It's, like, it's a cool case.
Yeah.
One that I've only ever seen, like, Max Ace knives come with.
And it's just included when you buy the knife.
Yeah, it's a stellar deal, and it is a very, very cool product.
And I like it a lot.
So yeah, huge congrats to you for, I guess, like, partnering.
Yeah, it's kind of a sponsorship, but I tend to avoid the word sponsorship because, hot take, in the Balisong community, the word sponsor has lost all meaning. People will literally just put sponsored by and then at Instagram account, when I've seen DMs of people just being like, hey, can I call you sponsored just because?
Yeah.
And like literally word for word saying just because I want to.
Yeah.
And they'll just put it in their bio. So I avoid the word sponsored because I feel like it's completely just thrown in the trash at this point. And saying you're sponsored by someone doesn't mean what I thought it meant, which I grew up in kind of what I originally, my first, this is going to be weird, but my first introduction to sponsorships was actually skate stuff. Like, if you're sponsored by a skate company or you're sponsored by a shoe company, they pay you money, first of all, to rep their stuff.
Right.
They pay you a lot of money. You also usually get design deals with them. You design a shoe and then you get revenue from it, kind of how Will is doing with the Vault. But that is not the case in the Balisong hobby, and me and Tay talked about this, and it's mostly just because Balisong makers don't have that kind of money, and they don't have that kind of exposure to pay you a monthly salary or a monthly payment for repping their products. So instead, our payment for the promotion is that they give you products. That's kind of like their trade-off. But this is something he mentioned today, is that they're putting in the effort. You should still treat it as a sponsorship where you are not limited to only using their products, but it shouldn't be you post one Instagram flipping clip and that's it. That's the extent of your sponsorship. They sent you one knife and you post one Instagram flipping clip. I am so not about that. If I'm going to be on a sponsor, or if I'm going to be sponsored by someone, or in my case I basically just call it partnered with someone, I'm going to not only love the shit out of their product and flip it basically every day, I'm going to...
Not because you're sponsored
Not
by
because
them,
I'm sponsored.
You're genuinely just
I make the decision...
make that distinction.
Yeah, I make the decision to be sponsored after I already tried the product and I really, really enjoy it. A sponsor to me, I'm going to love the shit out of their product. I'm going to flip it every day. I'm going to make a bunch of videos with it, a bunch of high-quality videos promoting their product, not just casually flipping it and not mentioning like what it is, and I'm just a boring ass flipping clip that happens to be with their knife.
Right.
I'm going to showcase it. I'm going to put it into the spotlight because they're going out of their way to support me, not financially necessarily, but to give me a product to do all this with.
Yeah.
And when it's a absolute banger product like the Sirius and LDY stuff is, then I'm gonna rep that all day. And LDY messaged me and he said, "Hey, do you accept sponsorships?" And then he sent out the Sirius, and I messaged him after I got the Sirius, and I was like, "Listen, sponsorships to me are not the same as sponsorships to other people in the community. So if you're gonna sponsor me, I want to be in the loop with new products. I want to be like showcasing all this stuff. I want to be officially talking to you as a maker and discussing kind of what's coming and being in the loop, just about what I should be doing and what he expects from me and what I expect from him." And he was like, "Yeah, that sounds good." So he let me in on the details on some new stuff, and he said like, "Yeah, we'd love to be a sponsor and just like have, I guess, give me all the information on some new stuff and what to look out for." And hopefully I'll be getting some of those new things to try and review and talk about with you guys, which LDY is very generous with letting people try things, and even if I can't have it, I'll at least get in on a pass around and borrow it. So LDY is one of the people I'm comfortable now calling a sponsor or a partner with, because I kind of went out of my way to make sure that I'm in the loop on what he's doing and what they're doing as a very small company, and kind of, if they're going to put all this effort into making a good battle song, I'm going to be there basically every step of the way, and LDY was cool with that. So yeah, I got the Sirius, and I didn't call it an official sponsor until I got it and knew I liked it, and then talked to LDY about how I see sponsorships, and here we are. So yeah,
that's very cool.
By LDY. Partnered with LDY. I use the word partnered because I feel like it's a little more personal than just like sponsored, which I feel like I said has lost meaning. So, like, I wouldn't call Barfly a sponsor because they sent me one knife. They sent me the Firefly
V2 for review,
and they posted it on their page.
Same as I wouldn't really call Zippy a sponsor, just because he sent me the Cycloid back when the Cycloid came out.
Yeah, sending something for review is very different than sending it as a sponsor. Because I feel like with a review unit, your task is to review the knife.
The give and take is, I give you knife, you give me video about knife, providing your feedback and showing it off to your audience.
Yeah.
Whereas a sponsorship is similar.
Yeah.
But it seems, and I agree with you in the sense of it's a more perpetual thing.
Yeah.
It's not I give you one knife, you make one video, we are sponsor. It's we mutually support each other throughout everything that goes on.
Yes.
You make a new product, if you want me to rep it, let's do it. I'll make a video about it, whatever. And I guess like it is really tough to be sponsored by someone when you're a reviewer.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, I'm sure you do as well, but if I were to get sponsored by someone, they would not have any control on what I was able to say.
I have not shown...
Honesty is still a huge part of being sponsored in my eyes, and I'm sure you feel the same way about this.
Yeah, I have not shown LDY, and LDY and any of my future sponsors will never see anything until it is posted. I am not going to... Maybe I'll clear it with them, but the only thing that's gonna come out of that is... I'm going to post this. If you don't like what I said, then I will send it back to you and you don't have to keep your sponsor. Right. Because even if somebody gives me a knife and I have negative opinions on it, if I'm going to be partnered with them, they're going to take my opinion and build off of it instead of just being upset and like take the video down. I don't want you saying all this. Anyone that I would genuinely consider to be a sponsor is not going to be that type of person to just back out and because I said bad thing about their knife. But also remember, in the first place, like I said, I will not accept a sponsor unless I genuinely enjoy their products. I feel like they have potential. It's the same thing with a review unit, kind of, because you can't promise someone a review unless you think that you're going to be able to provide something in that review. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to review every single thing that someone sends me just because they sent it to me, because it might not be interesting enough for me to make a video. Yeah. And if they have any problem with me being honest, it's like, okay, then
not like I'll like you said, I'll just send this back.
Yeah.
If you want to control what I'm saying, go somewhere else,
Yeah.
because this is not the channel for that.
Yeah, we are very objective reviewers.
Try to be.
Yeah, we try to be as much as we can. Which basically, it doesn't come down to listing all our specs. We still give our opinions, and a lot of them are pretty strong opinions on like how we feel about knives and what people say about knives. But it's always led by something objective. Like for example, the Kraken trainer a lot we talk about. The Kraken trainer has a very strong handle bias. That is something that everyone knows. That is something that Squid knows when they designed it. That is just the balance point of the Kraken. Now, whether it's up to if you like it or not is going to be completely subjective.
Mhm.
I personally like it, but there are a ton of people that don't like it at all. And one of the things I say in my videos so much is just try one first.
Right.
Just get a hold of somebody who has one, temp trade them, or do something to just try one before you form your opinions on it, before you go crazy about talking about how good or bad it is. And that's just something that that's something that I try to do a lot, is just try things before I give my opinion on them, because people do take at this point people take our opinions somewhat seriously. When people ask for opinions, people ask for design ideas. I've had people come to me now, especially in the 3D printed space. I had somebody come to me the other day that was like, I had an idea for a battle song, and I was doing so many things, and then I watched your Tay Flipper review. And I was like, there is so much stuff I just completely forgot because, and like,
Interesting.
like they said that they were planning to make really thin handles, but when I mentioned like thicker handles typically work better on plastic battle songs, they designed a knife with thicker handles, and I liked it a lot more. So people rely on our opinions, especially with things like the Vulp. A lot of people have been like, hey, should I buy a Vulp? Like people rely on our input to make those decisions. So it is our job to keep it as like, here's what you need to know. Now think about this and decide if you want one. Like, we're not going to tell people, oh yeah, buy a Vulp because Will and Brandon sent us some. Like, it's never going to be, we are privileged enough to have a knife, so we're going to shill it to absolute death.
We are shills, we are shills,
we are shills, we are shills. It is always based on objectivity and just informing you guys on what you need to know. That way you can make the informed purchase instead of just buying it because we said so and because Will and Brandon gave us some.
The reason that you
It's
do
never that
something should never be because a YouTuber told me to.
Yeah.
The YouTuber is not here to tell you what to do. The YouTuber is here to give you the knowledge that you need. Well, not even a YouTuber, a reviewer in general is giving you the knowledge that you need. That is awful, and I hate that you just did that.
You got him.
That's the nemesis that is tapping. Awesome.
GG, well
That
played.
is so awesome.
LMAO, bozo. Rip.
You know what? It had a good run. I'm not even mad about it because it was tapless for a long time.
It's that right there.
Anyway, what was I just saying?
I don't even know. Oh, a YouTuber. You should buy
That
something
is
because
how
a
much
YouTuber
that you
told me.
distracted me with that, because that actually annoys me so much that has tap.
You should be fine. I
I'll
was
be- I'll
really
be fine.
shaking.
It doesn't really
Probably just
matter.
needs a tune. It needs a crank.
I'll crank it. We'll figure it out. Anyway,
Yeah, we should be-
a reviewer is there to give you the information that you need to make a decision, never to make that decision for you.
Yeah, exactly.
When you buy something, it should never, or when you make a decision, it should never be because X told me to. Oh, he fixed it.
Yeah, it's
Good
just
job.
this screw is just a little loose.
Good job. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
I'm not someone who overly cares about tap, but on my most expensive Balisong,
Oh, on your most expensive
I'm
one of a
gonna-
kind customized.
yeah,
Tefty,
one of a
yeah.
kind, one of 30 now discontinued, I am going to care about tap a little bit.
Oh yeah, we got more now. Absolutely.
But yeah, just like, yeah, I try to give reasons. If someone doesn't buy a Nautilus, it shouldn't be, oh, because camaroEE didn't like it. It should be because, oh, because that experience genuinely didn't sound great, and it
Yeah.
has this issue and this issue, and I'm going to think about that.
Tap is a good example of it. Like, a tap on the Vulp is a very, very good example of this. Tap exists on the Vulp. Every time we talk about the Vulp, straight out of the box, without post-tuning, tuning it yourself, sending it out to get tuned, we always mention that it will get tapped. That is not something that is there to scare you away. It's there because we are trying to give you an informed purchase. It's not just guiding you. We could very easily be one of those people if we weren't objective, it would be so easy to just say the Volt is perfect. Just buy a Volt. Support Will and Brandon. Just buy a Volt.
Just buy a Volt. Who
But
cares about tap? Blah blah blah.
we are making the conscious decision to mention its flaws. That way, you guys get like Will and Brandon are some of our good friends. And every time I mention tap, it probably upsets Brandon just a little bit because Brandon, they have put so much work into getting the tolerances as good as possible. And I know every time I mention tap, Will and Brandon are probably like, don't want to hear that, but that's perfectly fine. Although
I'm sure
they're the type of people to want to fix it instead of, like, they probably love to hear the feedback.
Positive but they do not mind that in the slightest.
But I am not going to be the guy to just say, buy a Volt. It's perfect. Like, I'm going to tell you guys what's the problem with it. And not necessarily the problem, but, like, what its potential issues are so you can make that informed purchase for yourself.
Similarly, it's like, don't just hate something because we say to hate it.
Yeah.
That's one thing with my Nautilus review that I tried to get across is that I had a reason to dislike it, and I was sharing those reasons rather than just saying, oh yeah, blindly don't get a Nautilus. If someone asks me if they should buy a Nautilus, my answer is still, if you think you'll like it, yeah.
Yeah. I probably like the Nautilus more than you do, because the Nautilus I had didn't have tap issues until, like, the day I sent it off.
Yeah.
Which he knew. I messaged him before.
It's just the flipping, too. It's just like...
Yeah.
That's one thing that I wish going back and re-reviewing the Naut, if I could, I would make an effort to say, yeah, the flipping is pretty good, but, like, it's not the best for me personally.
The flipping of the Nautilus, it also is going to depend heavily on flipping styles, because the flipping of the Nautilus works very, very well for a lot of the technical stuff. Yeah. Like the pinky stuff and stuff where the blade is kind of like that, where it just, like, because the handle bias is so strong, it's kind of a Kraken Trainer situation. Right. Where it's just, like, all the stuff where it's just weird and out of the ordinary, which is stuff that I'm doing more in my combos than you do, is, like, that stuff, it works fucking really, really well. Balls and yeah.
Crazy. I've been crazy. Actually, the opposite of crazy.
I've been talking to J Park too long. He convinced me. But yeah, like it's so objective or so subjective. Sorry. Yeah.
I would be pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
It's so subjective, and our job is strictly to just give you your options and tell you what you need to know before making the informed purchase for yourself. That's our job.
Speaking of subjectivity, did you watch that video I made about the tech community, like subjectivity and like differences in the two communities?
I watched a little bit of it. I don't think I watched all of it.
Because that would be an interesting topic to bring up. Is like because you also come from a tech community.
Yeah.
It's super weird. I want to get your insight on it. Coming from to just sum up that video in like a sentence or two, it's super weird coming from a hobby where everything is objective. You look at a graph and it is numbers, and there is an objective best performance per dollar. There is an objective best you should buy this.
Yep.
No matter what. You have $700 to spend. You buy this graphics card and you buy the CPU.
Yeah,
and you
there's no better combo.
You can't go balls to the wall on a CPU because then you bought on like your GPU, and you can't like there's all this stuff to think about. So like tech is objective. Yep. Someone brought up a good point in the comments, was like, look at VR, because then VR is the subjectivity, and I was like, you know what, that is a damn good point.
True.
But how weird was it for you coming from, because you've done tech reviews.
Oh yeah.
Coming from a tech background where everything is objective to something so subjective like Battle of Songs.
Yeah. I found a balance in objectivity and subjectivity with the tech community, because hardware, completely objective, like you were saying. There is, for $1,000, there is a best performing graphics card. Yep. That's just it. There literally is. You can just
and there's
look
a
it
best
up.
Build for that graphics card.
You can just look it up and you will get one answer. Like highest FPS in under $1,000 graphics card, there will be one answer.
I want to spend as little as I can on a PC. You do this.
Yeah. Yep. There is so much more objectivity. What there's subjectivity in, peripherals, mice, keyboard, headphones.
Which is what you did.
That's what I slipped into, because I personally like the experimental side of things, which is why I feel like Battle of Songs slips so easily into that, is I like trying new headphones, I like trying new mice, I love trying new keyboards. That's why I have so many different things. And there is a subjective side of the tech community in those peripherals, but it's because I did grow up a lot on the hardware side of things, looking at performance graphs, looking at just GPU benchmarks, all that stuff, and it's a very it makes things very difficult as a Battlesong reviewer, because there is no, oh, the 4090s came out, here's the performance increase, here's the price increase, should you buy one? If you have the money, if you want to.
Right.
Like there's nothing to measure as like a solid, this is better than this, buy this if you have the money.
Hey, do you like better frames? Yeah, probably. So then get this.
Oh yeah.
It's not like, hey, do you like handle bias? Get this. Hey, do you like blade bias? Get this. It's like, hey, do you want more frames? Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
Okay,
for
there you
this. Yeah, there you go.
Get this.
Boom.
Yeah, and there's always, with tech, especially like graphics card hardware stuff, there's such a linear path.
Yeah.
It goes 3050, 3060, 3060 Super, 3060 Ti, and then 3070, and
There's
then 30.
an upgrade.
Like,
there's a
straight
better.
beyond.
There's a worse. Yeah.
When it comes to Battlesongs, I have gone from Squiddy to, I don't even know, Squiddy to Arctic. Then I have
You had a
Kraken.
Squiddy before an Arctic? I thought it was
No,
the other
no,
way
no.
around.
I went from Arctic to Squiddy to Kraken, then to Mako, now to the Sirius, now to unreleased product that I can't mention yet.
You guys will know what it is very soon. Don't worry.
Yeah, it goes literally like next week or two. It goes so up and down that there are people like Will, for example, who has multiple like Grail, like King of the Collection Battlesongs.
Yeah.
And he still approaches people like Tay for getting, he wants another Tay flipper. Like,
Yeah.
you never stop. With Battlesongs, it's just, you go so all over the place. And that is the cool part, is that you don't just go in a linear, this is better than this is better than this, and I'm going to go up the chain. You can go backwards, you can go sideways, you can go all over the place. You could sell off a few of your cheaper Battlesongs to get a slightly better Battlesong with a good anno on it. Like, you can do so many different things.
That's one thing I guess I didn't really think about, was the upgrade path. Because if you have a graphics card, there is no reason to go to a 3050 if you have a 3060. Like, physically no reason.
Not at all. If you go down, you're actually a 3-head.
But there is a reason.
And should sell your graphics card to me for free.
Hey, now that the market's crashing.
Hey, let's go. But
there is a reason to, I own a Nemesis and I just bought a diode.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
And that's another thing, is the only thing I can think of for graphics cards is such an easy example to use, so we're just going to keep writing on that.
Yep.
The only thing I can think of is, like, in that space with graphics cards is, like, temperature management. Because if you get a 3090 in a micro ITX case, it's going to literally explode.
Unless you get the right board partner card with, like, triple fans or whatever.
Yeah, but those can't fit in a tiny micro ITX case like that. Where
unless
that
they
is,
do.
Unless they do. That is literally the only thing
Linus
I can
Tech
think of.
In a nutshell.
Yeah. But with Battlesongs, like, that is the only, for GPUs, that is the only factor I can think of that would change that, is just size and heat. But for Battlesongs, you bought a live blade. Well, now you have to buy a trainer because you can't flip the live blade in public. Now you have to buy a plastic Battlesong because flipping a metal Battlesong in public is even frowned upon in your area because live blades are so illegal. Your hands
you just
are
want
not.
A plastic one because you think it's cool.
Yeah.
Or
there is.
I want a second Kraken because it's a different color.
Yes, literally. There is so much that goes into making your purchase with Battlesongs. It is such a. There's no step forward. Like, there's no correct step forward.
No upgrade path.
When people, I have people all the time that are like, "Hey, I got a Squiddy. Would a Mako be a good upgrade? Would a Vault be a good upgrade?" It's like, yeah, those are great upgrades, but, like, what do you want?
Yeah, you could also upgrade to a Prisma.
Yeah.
You could also upgrade to a Kraken.
Yeah.
Or a Nemesis. Or a Seraph.
If you wanted to,
if you go
could.
from a Squiddy to a Seraph.
You could.
It's a valid
Or
thing.
you can go from a Squiddy to a Cyclade.
If you have done a Squiddy to a Seraph, please let me know, because that is insane.
That'd be
But
hype.
it's still valid.
That'd be baller.
It's hype.
Very hype. But, like, there's... In the Battlesong hobby, too, you don't even have to upgrade. Or you don't even have to, like, get better over time.
Yep.
You can start off... I know plenty of people who... They're Kraken trainers, their first Battlesong.
Yep.
Like, okay, you hit the jackpot first time. You're literally just going around that area for the rest of the time.
And then you just side grade for the rest of your flipping experience.
Yeah, you just go Kraken trainer, get a live Kraken, get maybe a squid trainer, get something lower in titanium. Like
Yeah.
you just keep going around that like general really good area that is just doesn't happen in the tech community unless you're talking about, even with peripherals. It's every year a new mouse comes out that's just like sensors better. The shape is the only really objective part. Sensors better, wireless technology is
shape
better.
isn't even objective.
Or subjective part, sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, but like the sensor is going to be better, the wireless capability is going to be better, battery life is going to be better. Like there are all these improvements. There's always some kind of upgrade path. If you consider it's kind of similar in battle songs where they're getting better and better every year, but you don't really see people. It happens sometimes. You don't really see people with 6 different mice on their desk alternating every day.
Right.
That just
unless you're tens.
Yeah,
Unless you're
literally mid-match will throw a mouse away and get a new one.
Yeah, unless you're some crazed person who's like,
Yeah.
oh, this one isn't really doing so well today, and then switch to a different one.
Yeah, most people don't use one mouse to play Counter-Strike, use another mouse to play Dota, use another mouse to play League, use another mouse to play The Sims. Like,
Yeah.
most people don't do that. Meanwhile, Battle Songs, flip my Live Blade indoors while I'm sitting on the couch, I'll flip my Tay Flipper in the store, I'll flip my Kraken Trainer when I want to do something interesting. Like,
Right.
that's just, there is so many things you can do with Battle Songs, and you can just constantly rotate, and that's why you see people with literally like 60 knives in their collection.
Yep. And it's just like, it's a skill thing.
Yeah.
You can put a ton of time into getting better at flipping, into making cooler clips, or making better videos, or like just doing whatever.
Absolutely.
Even to the point where you can participate in a Bally comp where you can win like legitimate prizes from big manufacturers. It's like, it's cool. It's so cool. I don't know what the point is. We just went on a huge tangent. I don't know what our initial point was, and I don't know how to wrap it back up.
I don't know. Anyways, Battle Songs are cool.
Cool stuff.
Cool stuff. Battle Songs are sick. So we're approaching the deadline here.
Approaching the hour mark. I'm trying to think of one final
one
little...
last topic. Should we talk about what Glider has sent you?
Oh, the glider
Is that
package.
for public disclosure?
Yeah, no, that's for public disclosure for sure. I finally got noticed by Big Senpai Glider,
Let's
and
go.
they sent me a care package of all their new accessories. I just made a video on Blade Bias. I think when this comes out, it'll be a few days ago. Just about like Balisong accessories in general, because there's a lot of cool stuff coming out. I don't know how involved you are in the accessory game, but you've got things that you've tried here: the pivot needle, the pivot holder, the Bally driver, the zippy end caps, like all this crazy stuff that's just really cool. And then the glider driver, super high quality, super sick, and the Arctic spacers, the pin spacers, make it flip not a lot better, because the Arctic is always going to have a degree of handle bias, I've noticed, but it does let you customize the level of handle bias, and it's actually, like, the Arctic has been sort of clawing its way. The Arctic has been in my top 3 when I didn't have 3 other battle songs. As much as I love the Arctic and have a soft spot for it, it's always been kind of below my top 3. Trying those pin spacers, it's kind of clawing its way back up. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I almost would put an Arctic above my Vortex at this point with the pin spacers.
Interesting.
So it's super cool. I am very, very excited about that package.
Yes, it's a very cool package. And the bit is super sick.
Yeah, the
little
drivers.
driver, yeah.
So sick and so portable, and it's amazing to just have on you at all times.
Yeah, I would love to have one of those to put in this.
You should get one.
I should. Very cool, very nice driver.
Yeah.
Shout out to Glider.
Shout out Glider. Shout out.
Finally noticing you after all this time.
It is very hype. It's definitely like a bucket list item, Balisong bucket list item crossed off.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Pop a Glider notice. Damn. Pop a Glider. Oh, when we made the first
Dinner.
we made the first video. That was you had the Arctic in the first video.
Yeah, the
I
Arctic
made.
was heavily featured in the first video.
First video I made. And then we made the Arctic review. Arctic review was like Because the first two videos, we kind of were making something different. It wasn't the Arctic review is sentimental because like that was our first review. That's where we first kind of knew what we were doing, I guess.
Yeah.
It was very like had a distinct image in mind.
Should You Buy and So You Bought were very experimental because it was making videos that didn't really exist yet.
Yeah.
But implementing a format that had worked for other people.
Yeah.
Whereas the Arctic review was like, okay, we know. I mean, we didn't really know what we were doing review-wise.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I would change about that review, and there might be an Arctic re-review coming. Eventually. I don't want to put a date
Don't
on
even
it 'cause
say
it's
soon.
not going to happen. But yeah, like there's a lot of stuff I would change, but it's just like that was a very cool time to learn all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. The Arctic review was very early on in our career, and the hard part about reviewing things that early is just we didn't really know a lot of what we were talking about.
Specifically because we had nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
If you go back in the video, I call the fucking Arctic neutral.
Yeah.
It is not even close to neutral.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, it feels like a squiddy bee. How do you even compare those two? Like, what was I thinking? Which is the main reason I want to re-review it, because like a lot of things I said in that video, I would look back on and I'm like, what? Why?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I know why, because you had nothing better to compare it to, but still. Please.
But we didn't want to wait until we got a shit ton of battle songs to start making videos. We were just like, let's just make videos.
Because you should.
Yeah, that is a huge thing that I guess we'll do another day. But I definitely encourage people to just start doing things.
You should do like a head mounted.
Yeah.
Bias about that.
Didn't Will? What video did he know? Wasn't it? Should You Buy a battle song?
It was Should You Buy? Yep.
Our first video. Will reposted it and watched it and liked it. And that's the start of us being friends with Will. That's the start of everything.
And that's not going to happen for everyone.
No,
to be very clear.
I should mention that. That's not going to be the typical case. But my point there is just you never know what's going to happen.
Just make it.
Yeah. If we would have waited another 3-4 months for us to get a little bit bigger collections, probably wouldn't have had nearly the success we have now.
Oh,
just because we would have
close.
we would have been months behind where we are now, and that is doo-doo.
I always see people saying, oh, I want to make videos, but I want to wait until I get like a nice camera.
Yeah.
Or I want to wait until I get
I hear that one a lot.
cool ballad song, or I want to wait. Don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if I always preach, what am I saying?
Jeez.
I always preach putting out something that you're proud of.
Yep.
But putting out something that you're proud of does not mean having a perfect camera, having a perfect understanding of everything, having a perfect ballad song collection, etc.
It's the
Because
work
you
that goes
can
into it.
use those first few videos as a buffer to get better.
Yeah.
Because then when you finally do have that good camera, you'll have learned all these other lessons
Exactly.
to put into using that new camera to only make that even better, rather than you'll be, like you said, you'll be a month ahead rather than learning all that stuff with learning the new camera.
Yeah. And that's where I feel my kind of videos were so easy. Like when I got my camera, it was instantly like, oh, this bangs. This is nice. Because I've been making YouTube videos since I was like 13 years old.
You had that experience.
Yeah,
you knew how to use it.
Yeah, I know what looked good. I know what I should be doing. And that's something that I get DMs like that all the time, mostly because of the camera situation.
Right.
I have a good camera. I film everything with a nice camera. And I get people all the time who send me their edits, or they message me and they're like, hey, I want to start making videos, or I just made this, I'm not too happy with it, I think I need a new camera. And I'm like, sure, getting a new camera will be cool and it'll make your footage look better, but just keep working on it. If you can't make something with your phone, I can make something with my phone in 2 hours that I'm perfectly happy with.
Yep.
If you can't do that, then it's not a gear issue, it's a creativity issue. And I feel like honestly, skill issue. Look at people like Disco, the homie. Disco, Desuko.
Oh,
I pronounce his name differently because
I was like,
other
what? Anyway.
Disoko. I don't fucking know.
I say Daisuko.
Daisuko.
I don't even know if that's
Disco.
right.
I say Disco because that's the Japanese pronunciation. Anyways, yeah, look at him. He makes videos on his phone.
He
and
makes
they're
banging
fucking
videos.
bangers.
Yeah.
Every single time. They're so good. And he doesn't have high quality gear. He has his iPhone and After Effects and Premiere. Literally all he does is just film on his phone and then do some funky editing and make something that is super creative. And that is what you need to do. You don't need the highest quality equipment. You don't need to wait till you get a camera to start. Just start and learn how to make something you're happy with low-end gear. That way you're already happy with your work. Once you get a camera, once you get a nice lens, it's like even better. You're already happy with it, now you're just ecstatic about it.
Yep.
And that's kind of where I sit. It's like I'm already happy with a lot of my work. I want to get a new lens because it's a new creative tool and it'll just make my videos like perfect. It's like what I imagine in my head is like I have all my techniques in place. I just want to kind of bump it up to the cooler level. Just like keep sending it upwards because that's what I do. But I could release a video that I filmed entirely on my phone and be perfectly happy with it.
I mean, I have been doing that.
Yeah, that's what you've been doing. And the Kraken trainer video, or the Kraken video, aside from the B-roll shots that I shot, was entirely done on your phone, in your pocket.
My pocket.
Your pocket, and that thing, it's still an amazing video because it's not.
Yeah, I think I used one shot from your camera.
Yeah, it was
two. Maybe?
It was the only shots I had from my camera were your Damascus Kraken.
Yeah,
that's it. All the Kraken trainer, everything else was filmed just on your pocket.
And it's nothing too like artistic like you do. Like your Vulp intro is beautiful.
Yeah.
But you can do it.
That video is still very entertaining.
Yeah.
The Kraken trainer, that's still like a banger video. And it was shot.
Boost my ego even more, why don't you?
The pocket, still a good camera, but it's nowhere near the artistic kind of level that my camera has.
Which I'm not really going for.
Yeah.
So.
You don't have to go for. You don't have to make your shots look like somebody else's. I mean, I'm sure my take on that doesn't matter because I'm just carbon copy of Addison True. But
not at all.
You know, you take inspiration from people, but I can make something in that style, like I've been saying, with just my phone, and I'll be still perfectly confident that it'll hold up.
Yeah.
It's just gear doesn't matter. But of course gear is nice, and of course if you're going to take your filming to the next level, gear starts to matter. But in terms, I think gear doesn't matter really comes into play for new people.
Yep.
That's when it matters. Later on, when you're a couple thousand subs in and you want to take your content to the next level, of course gear matters. It obviously matters. It's going to matter forever. But when you're first starting, just make with what you have, and you will eventually get new gear. And I am buying new lenses for my camera soon, and I'm going to make everything look super, super nice and even better than it does now. This is a year after we started making videos.
Yep.
I've been making videos for a year with the same camera and the same lens without changing anything because I've just been learning to use it properly.
Yeah.
And my videos look better every time.
Yep.
But just because I'm learning. Nothing in my gear has changed because I'm learning.
Learn something every video.
Compare my first review, which I believe was the $30 the Amazon trainer, the G10 doo-doo fart Amazon trainer.
Did you review that?
I did.
Holy cow, I don't even remember this.
It was kind of a cringe video, and the lighting was terrible, and the opening B-roll was pretty swag, but it was doo-doo fart.
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that because I almost don't even remember it.
It sucks. Well, it doesn't suck, but compared to now, it sucks.
Oh no, I do remember it.
Yeah.
It's 2 a.m. I'm stupid.
True. But like, compare that to my Vulp video. Every single shot in my Vulp video looks better.
Yeah.
But it is simply because it's same camera, same lens, same everything. I just learned how to use it.
Right.
That's it. That's what it comes down to. And yeah.
And speaking of things that we should do now rather than later,
probably leave.
If you're all finished with everything you were saying.
I'm all set. I'm all good.
I think that does it for this round of the podcast.
Probably does.
Welcome back to
hour.
the podcast, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's been a hot minute.
Don't hold us to anything. We're not making an official schedule for this
Yeah, I
thing.
have no idea. Eventually. You'll get an episode eventually.
Smile. Assuming this one doesn't get deleted.
Yeah, well, this one's on you.
This one's going on Google Drive.
Yeah, save this one. Because that would be funny. That'd be a ha-ha.
I think we should just upload everything we do to Google Drive now.
Probably
be a good idea. Anyway, that's a conversation for another day.
Yes, that's a conversation for off camera. Off audio recording.
Have been slightly uncomfortable this whole time, just physically.
Why?
Just sitting in the position that I've been sitting
yeah?
to try and get my voice to get to the mic. But I have been camaroEE,
I have been telephone,
Tetris,
Tylenol. Tylenol's a good one. Tylenol's probably my favorite.
there was one more.
Testosterone.
Testosterone is a good one.
It's a good one. Telephone, Tylenol.
Telomere hack. That's a Temtem reference. I doubt anyone knows that.
Don't get it. Somebody said what? Telegram. Somebody said one to me one time that was really good. I don't remember what it was, but it was pretty good.
Can we drag this out any longer? Probably not.
I think we're out of here. So thank you guys for stopping in for the podcast once again, and hopefully it won't be 3 months.
Hopefully.
But
don't hold us to anything.
Anyways, do play-bys video like tomorrow or the next day. Yay!
Yay! Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah, baby. Woo! That's what I'm waiting for.